The choice in November is a choice between a Clinton agenda that puts donors first or an agenda that puts America first. My agenda, America first always.
You might notice he sounds a little different because that line was from a written speech, a lengthy, detailed set of policy contrasts in that speech, read on a teleprompter, contrast with Hillary Clinton on issues ranging from energy and job creation to a foreign policy legacy that Trump calls disastrous.
We're going to save the coal industry. We're going to save that coal industry. Believe me, we're going to save it. I love those people.
Now, that speech was actually just what the Republican establishment and its political pros have been looking for. Less insult, less bluster, fewer Clinton conspiracy theories, more conservative policy ideas, and an overarching outsider theme of changing a broken Washington. So is Trump finally ready to take cues from the pros, including his new campaign chief guru and his newly hired pollster? Well, not so fast. He only sort of delivered the speech as written, wandering off text repeatedly. Then at his next rally in Montana, the teleprompter was gone, and trademark Trump was back.
I don't know if you heard, but I have one of the highest poll numbers ever recorded with men, and I would swap it for the women right now, okay? I want the women. The hell with the men. The hell with the men. Right, men?
Welcome to the Trump paradox. Welcome to the Trump paradox. He's at this moment, and we give him his due. Give him his due. He beat a field of candidates with nearly 200 years of experience in elective office. The question is, what now? And so he has a prepared text in the Bismarck event. It's a long, detailed policy contrast with Hillary Clinton. You look at it, you read it, and you can disagree with it if you're a Democrat. Even some Republicans might not like things, but you look at it and you say, okay, this is a campaign theme. And he kind of gives it, and you can kind of see on his face, he doesn't like the teleprompter, and then we get the old Trump back.
I mean, because Trump looks at his campaign and he looks at these rallies and these crowds that are so enthusiastic, and he says, that's what this is about. This is why I'm winning. Okay, I'll do the policies if you want me to do the policies. I'll read off this speech if you think it's best. But I know what's best for my campaign. I'm Donald Trump. And you can almost see it on his face when he's in these moments. And you can then see it on his aides' faces when they're watching him go off script.
It's the inherent challenge with the Trump campaign because he believes he's gone this far, and he has gone this far because he's shown an authentic side of himself. Even if he says a lot of things that are off-putting and controversial, he says things that, not by reading a teleprompter, but what he's feeling in his gut. And people, professional party officials, operative types, know that in a general election, that may not work, and they need him to be more disciplined. And that's why you're seeing this contrast between someone who reads off a speech and is reading policy ideas that are given to him by folks in the party establishment, and then later saying, going back to the old Trump.
But it does seem like they're going to have to learn to live with this Dr. Jekyll or Mr. Hyde thing that's going on with Donald Trump, because they keep on being told by some people behind closed doors, like Paul Manafort, that he's going to tone it back, that he's going to moderate on things like his Muslim ban. Believe it when I see it, because you keep on, these things keep on being said, and then he goes in front of the crowd, to your points, and
he knows what fires up the crowd.
Exactly.
He thinks about, but Donald Trump's strategy is winning the battle, and Hillary Clinton's strategy has been winning the war. And what you see is that it's taken her longer to win the primary battle than it's taken Donald Trump, right? And, maybe 12 years ago it wouldn't have worked to think battle by battle, but when everything's chopped up into little bits, 140 characters and so on. I mean, it's working for him so far, and he operates as a gut instinct.
Yeah. So there's at least two Donald Trumps, if you will, or at least two perceptions if you look at it. And for those who think Donald Trump cannot win the election, and a lot of Democrats think that, they say, look at his problem with Latinos, look at his problem with women, look at his problem with African Americans. For those of you who think Donald Trump cannot win the election, I want to show you something. This is a bar graph based on the NBC Wall Street Journal poll, and I want you to look at that top number there. Changing business as usual. He has a 33-point advantage over Hillary Clinton. If voters decide come November this election is about changing a broken Washington, Donald Trump will win the election. He also scores ahead of her there on trade deals. Sanders voters might be available to him. On standing up to Wall Street, Sanders voters might be available to him. On the economy, he has a slight advantage over Hillary Clinton. So if you think Donald Trump can't win, you are wrong. You are wrong. But I want to show you something else. In the same poll, they said, we're going to tell you, think about a Donald Trump presidency. What words come to mind? Look at those. Look at those. Afraid, terrified, racist, prejudiced, bigot, wild card, unreliable, moving to Canada. So we're at this, we have this divided electorate, and we'll get to views of Hillary Clinton later, and they're not so great either. But he has a chance, but some people say he can't waste, he has no time to spare, so he can't have those moments.
But he can't help himself.
Right.
And we've seen that. Every time they say that he's going to be disciplined and they put him on a teleprompter, as we just saw, the next day he's back to what he's seen. And to be fair, he hasn't seen any polls that show that this is hurting him yet.
Right.
So perhaps once he starts seeing evidence that this isn't playing well and this isn't building him up, maybe then we'll see a change, but it remains to be seen.
Well, they're both out there, though. There's like a parallel structure, right? There's the national general election matchups, which suggests it's a very close race. And then there are these sort of deeper dives into character and reactions to personalities where she's not always ahead of him, but she's mostly ahead of him most of the time, especially with women. On issues like trust, they're around tied. I mean, if you look at those, you think, scientifically, she has a much better chance.
Who do you dislike less?
Right.
It's not necessarily who do you like more. Right. Both of these candidates are historically unpopular. Right. So if you look at Donald Trump in a vacuum, sure, he can't win. But if you compare him with Hillary Clinton, that changes.
Right, and he thinks he can win a street brawl, and he thinks he can keep winning. Now, the general electorate is very different than the primary electorate, but he thinks it worked in the primaries, so it'll keep working. We'll see if it does.